Bollocks. Hello guys, how are you getting on? My name is Aaron Kelly and welcome back to another episode of the Premier League Verdict. I hope you guys are having a good day. I am a very frustrated figure at this point, and we'll get into the reasons why. I'm sure you already know why you clicked the video. You've seen the title and thumbnail, but we'll get into all that later on in the video. Before we get into anything though, if you're not already subscribed to the Aaron Kelly channel, I'd love to ask you to do so. We are closing in, hopefully, on 500 subscribers. We're going to try and hit it before the end of 2021. We are not too far away at all, so share the link around with a few of your mates and let's get over the line before the end of the, end of the year, end of the month. December is just around the corner, isn't it? Our graphic is up in front of us once again, ladies and gentlemen, with our green, yellow and red box. And to kick off things in this video, we're going to talk about our green box as we always do. And for the second week running, as much as I didn't want to put them in this box, I'm giving it to Liverpool once again. And obviously they managed to comprehensively push aside Southampton in a fairly routine victory for them on Saturday, and to be honest, it was the most impressive performance from the weekend out of any team, hence to get the box. That's why we're in the green box. That's how the series works, Aaron. I'm going to stick Diogo Jota in that box as well alongside Liverpool because I think he had a really good game. Obviously scored twice, two fairly easy goals as far as they come, to be honest, for Diogo Jota. Two tap-ins, the first coming after a few minutes, getting in on the end of a pullback from Andy Robertson. Then he couldn't really miss with the second one either, pullback by Mo Salah across the 6-yard box to make it 2-0. And at that point we kind of knew Liverpool had the game wrapped up. Thiago got another goal to add to his absolute stunner he got in the week against Porto for Liverpool in the Champions League, before Virgil van Dijk's goal in the second half against his former team made it 4-0 to Liverpool. Southampton really struggling at the minute, obviously lost to Norwich last week. This is further evidence that they're going to be well within the thick of the relegation battle, I think it's fair to say. Further proof of that, if you like. But Liverpool were absolutely excellent without even having to break a sweat, really, and considering, Jurgen Klopp had a big chance to rest a lot of players during the week against Porto, considering Liverpool were already qualified for the last 16 going into that game. It wasn't really a surprise to see the main men back in the team, looking fresh, looking sharp, and getting Liverpool what is a routine win that moved them up to second prematurely. But then obviously Manchester City won yesterday. Big win for them actually as well against West Ham, thanks to goals from Gundogan and Fernandinho. But obviously both sides winning this weekend mean that they have closed the gap on Chelsea. Without really anything else to say regarding Liverpool or Diogo Jota in the green box, I am going to move straight into the yellow box, and I'm going to give it to Chelsea for the wow factor of the week. But it's not it's not a good wow. I was very close to giving Chelsea stinker of the week, but I had a little bit of a think about it, kind of rationalised the thought in my head. They've been promoted to the yellow box, if you like. In the end, maybe red box would have been a bit harsh for Chelsea, but I'm giving them the yellow box because how the fuck did we not beat Manchester United yesterday? I mean, holy fuck. A 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Manchester United. And don't get me wrong, Chelsea have spoiled us in the start of the season we've had. We've been absolutely brilliant. I think the game against Juventus during the week was absolutely phenomenal. Probably the best performance Chelsea have had all season so far. And, no surprise, it kind of left us with high expectations going into this game. Me and Grivat recorded a podcast last night, which will be going out on Tuesday. We kind of previewed the game, obviously full well knowing that the podcast will be out after the game has taken place. But we both talked about how confident we were that Chelsea were going to get the job done. And, based on form, based on mindset, based on, everything, going into this game, stats-wise, you would have said absolutely Chelsea should have more than enough to brush Manchester United aside. And when Michael Carrick named a team with McTominay, Fred and Matic in midfield and naming Cristiano Ronaldo on the bench, my hopes were, risen even further. But for me, there's just always that lingering fear when Chelsea play Manchester United. They've been a bit of a bogey team of recently. That Jorginho equaliser in the second half, I think, was the first goal Chelsea have scored against Manchester United since prime Maurizio Sarri era back in April of 2019. Marcus Alonso scored a goal at Old Trafford. That's quite incredible. It's the first goal, apparently, now this is what they're saying on Sky Sports, this is the first Premier League goal that Chelsea have scored against Manchester United since 2019. That is officially banter. Speaking of Jorginho, he was very close to getting the stinker box for this week, and only for him managing to score the equaliser, he would have got it. For gifting Jadon Sancho with the opening goal for Manchester United, a long ball cleared from a Chelsea free kick. Jorginho should just deal with it in whatever way he can, whether you boot it, whether you head it, just get rid of it. We've seen a similar thing, I think, in N'Golo Kante against Arsenal a couple of seasons ago when he let Martinelli in. Similar kind of incident. Sancho keeps his cool, doesn't choose to sweat it to Marcus Rashford, rather rolls it past Edouard Mendy to give United the lead. Thiago Silva fouled by Wan-Bissaka a couple of minutes later in the box, and Jorginho sticks away the penalty. 1-1, how it finished, and to be honest, Chelsea had so many chances, and this is why they get the shocking factor of the week. The amount of chances that was missed. Callum Hudson-Odoi, if he's able to finish inside the first 7 or 8 minutes, Chelsea have a 1-0 lead, and really, the perfect start. And credit to De Gea. I think it was a really good save by David De Gea, but Callum Hudson-Odoi, if he doesn't finish, Timo Werner was there for the fucking tap in. If he could just square it, chose to take the shot, and De Gea made the save. And then the last kick of the game, Antonio Rudiger, should score, really should. Obviously, he had a really good effort saved by De Gea in the first half, tipped onto the crossbar. I think United will be very, very happy with this point, but I think there was just so many performances lacking for Chelsea today. Not really much problem with any of the defenders, to be honest. Mendy nearly had an absolute... He nearly got the stinker box as well, actually, when he passed it straight to Fred. Luckily, it was Fred that was taking the shot, not someone like Ronaldo. But yeah, no problem with the back three, really. I didn't think Reece James had his best game. Alonso, I thought, was absolutely shocking. Jorginho was poor. Loftus-Cheek was poor. I think all of the front three, apart from, actually, I will give credit where it's due to Hakim Ziyech. I thought he had an absolutely... I wouldn't say excellent game, but certainly caused Man United the most problems and had them thinking. And I got to give a little bit of criticism here to Thomas Tuchel as well, because I do think he waited a little bit too long to make his substitutions. I think there was only like 10 or 12 minutes left before he decided to bring on the likes of Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic and Romelu Lukaku making his return. He should have made the changes earlier, and I'm sure he'll probably acknowledge that, but it really does feel like 2 points dropped for Chelsea. Incredibly, incredibly frustrating. But a great point for Manchester United. It's probably going to be Michael Carrick's last game. It looks like Ralph Rangnick is going to come in to take over there. Now, as I mentioned, Liverpool and Man City won. Chelsea have dropped points against a mid-table side. That's not going to go down well. And now there's only a point separating us from Man City, and I think 2 separating us from Liverpool. And we got to keep going now because there's midweek games coming up. Chelsea have Watford. I will just say before we do move on is that this is a very critical point in the season. Now we're coming into December. I think this was definitely the point last season where things started to really go wrong for Frank Lampard, especially around the mid to late December. There was defeats to the likes of Everton, of Wolves, Arsenal. Then in the new year, you had Man City, that defeat as well, the Leicester defeat as well. I just hope that Chelsea don't go on that kind of run again, because if they do, title race will be out the fucking window for us, to be honest. So the best thing the boys can do now is go out on Wednesday night, beat Watford, and get back on track, I think it's fair to say. Moving on to the stinker of the week. This is a bit of an interesting one this week now, and it really did piss me off, to be quite honest. I've no emotional connection to this club at all, but the fact that this happened and the way that it happened really did annoy me, to be quite honest. I'm sticking the Brighton fans in the stinker of the week this week, because after their 0-0 draw with Leeds, which admittedly not the best result, I mean, you've not lost the game, you're coming up against a Leeds side who haven't admittedly started the season very well. However, you're 8th in the Premier League. They made a really good start to the season, and Graham Potter and his team get booed after the game. Why? I enjoyed his post-match press conference where he came out in defense of himself and his players, and questioning why the fans were booing, because it's like, at the end of the day, you're Brighton, and I wouldn't mind. But usually, I mean, I didn't get a chance to see the game because I was out here recording the podcast with Jack, but maybe it was a bit of an off day for Brighton. But Brighton usually put on a good show at the very least. That's one thing we've always said about Graham Potter's Brighton, is that sometimes the only thing they lack is the clinical finish at the end of their moves. But Brighton play good football. They've got a lot of good players in their side. And yeah, a 0-0 draw against a struggling Leeds side is definitely frustrating, but you got to look at the bigger picture here, lads. Perhaps if this was a struggling Manchester United or a struggling Chelsea or a struggling Liverpool or Man City that go up against Leeds at home and don't manage to score, yeah, then maybe boos are warranted, or maybe criticism then is warranted. But it's Brighton. Gotta just be a reality check for Brighton fans. You just think about where yous have come from and where yous are at the minute. I think, as Graham Potter pointed out, I think they were 8th in the table at the time. They might have gone down now after United's point. Get a grip. As for where I'm going to wrap up the video, lads, I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know your thoughts on the boxes in the comment section down below. Let me know what you would have changed if you agree with me or not. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you later. I've been trying to find a way to make